New York Times poll, 79% of Americans think another terrorist attack is imminent. Those numbers mirror the country's sentiment 1 week after 9/11. As details slowly emerge from the San Bernardino terror attack, U.S. counterterrorism agencies are reporting now, more than ever, Americans should remain vigilant. New details released about the killers are chilling. The director of the FBI said,
"Our investigation to date, which I can only say so much about at this point, indicates that they were actually radicalized before they started courting or dating each other online. And online, as early as the end of 2013, they were talking to each other about jihad and martyrdom before they became engaged and then married and lived together in the United States."
Last Sunday, President Obama addressed the nation from the Oval Office and confirmed the San Bernardino attack was a terrorist act and renewed his call to restrict gun sales.
Congress should act to make sure no one on a no-fly list is able to buy a gun. What could possibly be the argument for allowing a terrorist suspect to buy a semi-automatic weapon? This is a matter of national security.
Even though there has been no record of someone on a no-fly list buying a gun, White House press secretary said the administration remains committed to more gun control.
It is not our view that we should wait until somebody who's on the no-fly list walks into a gun store, legally purchases a gun, and kills a bunch of innocent Americans.
Americans are confused by all the mixed signals coming from Washington, D.C. Their confusion may be justified. As George C. Scott said in the movie Patton, nobody wants a fair fight. And that is exactly what terrorists are looking for, gun-free zones and soft targets. With gun sales going through the roof, many are asking, how can disarming law-abiding Americans protect the country from homegrown terrorist threats?
And San Diego 6 News contributor Kimberly DeBark is here with more on this investigation. I want to start off by saying we know that the president is trying to push for an executive action on gun control. What are your sources saying?
He's been trying to do this. The administration's been trying to do this for quite some from the get-go. After every tragedy, lawmakers seem to jump into action, be reactive, and want to do something to stop this. However, the legislation or the executive action the president is offering would not have prevented what happened in San Bernardino. Because as we know, this female came into the country and on a K-1 visa, was not properly vetted and had jihadi ties and lived in an area where there's a hotbed of radicals in the San Bernardino Riverside area.
And the vetting process has been controversial since this broke out and since other terrorism attacks. People are saying we already have a vetting process that takes 18 to 24 months.
Well, that's for refugees. A K-1 visa, if you're a fiancé, it's a lot more lax. However, they do have to go through 2 in-person interviews. And my sources at DHS, and it's been reported now that they do not have to actually, ask them, what they're going to do when they get to this country. I mean, are you, they're not believing in what they have to say. They just let it go. So the best way to catch a lot of these guys, we know they use social media, but DHS believes that that's an infringement on their privacy, and so they're not looking at their social media. And in fact, this gal,
they told you this directly.
Yeah, and this gal that was in this country, she was on Facebook and saying that she not only believed in jihadism, she wanted to be a jihadi. So that's that.
So you're telling me that DHS does not look onto their social media to see what their activities are?
Exactly.
It's an infringement
on their
rights?
privacy rights, they're saying. So as you can imagine, everybody in Washington now is saying we need to revamp the system, and they do. So obviously this is something that slipped through the cracks. Hopefully we'll be able to prevent that, and that's why you're hearing all the uproar with Donald Trump and other people, talking about the Muslims. We just need to look at the, interest countries that are on our interest list that have no terrorists on there.
All right.
I just wanted to get back to the executive action real quick. I know that you talked about it earlier, and regarding the waiting period in California, there is a waiting period, and when you go to gun shows, there is a waiting period here, and the process and the name it's called exception reporting, and you give the ATF, you give the gun store owner your social security number, your driver's license number, and it gets run against a database through the ATF, and if it doesn't come back with anything within 14 days, you can come in and pick up your your weapon. But if it comes back, obviously, with an exception.
So it's not like you can go to a gun show, pick up a gun, and walk out. You have to wait. There's
No
background
way,
checks
no
and
how.
things
And California has the strictest gun laws, firearm laws in this country. We even track ammunition. So that shouldn't be what Americans are afraid of. And by the record gun sales, we're seeing that Americans are out there because they don't feel the United States government or our leaders are able to protect
All right,
us.
Kimberly Dorvac, thanks for
Great.
being with us this morning.
Thank you.
For more on her